Well, once again, Merry Christmas to all of you. Buon Natale, Feliz Navidad, Joyeux Noël, Maligayang Pasko. Shame on me, I did not do my research on German. Isn't that odd? Because I was in Germany twice this year. So I think Kate.
She doesn't.
Frohes Weihnachten. There you go. And by the way, those of you who are not aware, this parish has this parish was founded by Germans. So we have a long tradition, a German tradition here at this parish. Especially last night, if you were here, we sang Silent Night in German. So that's been a long time tradition here at All PH. Well, what a tremendous joy that we're together to celebrate the day on which our loving God came to us in such a beautiful way, in such a perfect way, in an imperfect world, and in such an incredibly humble way, in the person of Jesus, our Savior, trusted friend, brother, and God. Note that I said humble, because here you have the one, the King, God in the flesh, who started his journey in such a way that most of us probably wouldn't choose. Poor, albeit very loving, parents, no roof over your head until much later, a shelter of little comfort. Your bed or crib is a container used to feed animals. But that's how it happened. That's how our God stepped into our world in the most physical and tangible way. But why? Why did God choose the route that he chose? Why go through the hassle of entering our world as a baby born of a woman? Why not just miraculously appear and do whatever he needed to do? Why would God even want to be like us? Think about that for a second. Now, I'm sure many of us, whether we admit it or not, look at other people and wish we could trade our lives for theirs. For example, we hear of someone who has all the money in the world and is extremely successful in business, and then we think, wow, I wish I could have an easy life like his or her. Or we see someone who is so physically attractive, and we think, wow, if only I had those looks. Or we see someone who's better at sports, more musical, more creative, or who has a great family, and we think, gee, I really wish I could be like them. And so it just makes sense that we would want to be more like a whole bunch of different people whose lives we look a lot better than ours. We want to step into their worlds or their lives so that we could enjoy the things they enjoy. But why would God want to be like us? What's in it for him? Well, the answer is nothing. After all, that's what God needs, nothing. Then why? Well, in faith, we believe it is much more than God just wanting to save us, and that's a big part of it, no argument there. But the incredible truth is that God wanted to be like us. He wanted to enter our world, walk our journey, assume our nature, so that we could be more like him. Let that sink in. He embraced what we are so that we could embrace what and who he is. Because of Jesus, who forever changed our created world, we now are creatures who have the possibility of becoming more and more like our Creator. Let me be clear, though. To be more like God doesn't mean that we live for our glory or not submit to God's will. That's not what I'm talking about. But rather, we are to be like God by seeking his glory above all, by imitating his love and forgiveness, by seeking justice and acting justly, and by serving others and always striving to be holy. In this way, we could draw ever closer to him, break into his world, have a path to follow, and experience his love. And let us not forget that this loving God of ours did not come here just for a visit, but to stay with us forever. He's the living God who wants each of us to be his dwelling place. And so that means that the manger is no longer in some cold, dark, and lonely place as it was 2,000 years ago. It is now within you and within me. It's within all of us, waiting to cradle Jesus. And that's why, by the way, let me digress for a second. When we receive communion, you know how we receive in the hand? You're forming a cradle. First of all, you're forming a cross and a cradle. That's your manger. You're receiving Jesus in a manger. You know, if we just have the courage to invite him in. But regardless, Jesus himself is always present. He is never not there. Whether the world says so explicitly or not, it is in his name that we celebrate Christmas. Note the Christ in the word Christmas. He's there in the spirit of the season, in the giving of gifts, the lights, the decorations, and in the time spent with family. He's the greatest gift we have ever received, and he is the Word made flesh, the promise fulfilled. Merry Christmas, everyone.